Welcome to Loving's Guitar, where I like to talk about guitars and how they move me. Today, I'm gonna bring you back in time to how I got into this whole Harley Benton craze. And it started a few years back. Now, it started with this guitar. So, it's a Harley Benton TE62 in shell pink, the vintage series. Now, if you're new to the channel, you'll see that I have quite a lot of Harley Bentons now. And it's actually all because of this one. It's all because of this, because, there's something to be said about making a first impression. And folks, you only get one chance in life to make a first impression. And then after that, it is what it is. It's going to be based off of your first impression of anything. And so, God, I feel like an addict now because it's like I'm giving a confession. Because this is how it all started. It started with this guitar. Now, I'll give you a little bit of a history. Back in the 80s and 90s, I was in the New York punk scene, and it was a great scene. It was a good time in New York to be a punk. Anyway, long story short, back in those days, we didn't have guitars to like the $200 range you can get and be confident in a performance and actually show up and do a gig or whatever, or even tour with something that didn't cost like twice or three times the price of this. And it's not the cost value that I'm pointing at. I want to point at the value period. And it all started with this Harley Benton TE62 shell pink. Now this particular TE62, which I am very fond of, absolutely so fond of this guitar, I haven't changed a thing on it. Oh, the only thing I put in was a tone bleed. That's it. And I shielded the inside because it's a keeper. This is a keeper. The neck is the main reason why I'm touched by Harley Benton. They nailed it right off from day one on this guitar for me. Now, mind you, I'm not actually a skinny neck type of player anymore. I used to be, actually. Now I kind of like fat necks. And it's interesting because I'm a relatively small fella, about 5'7", 150 pounds. Wet, soaking wet. And look, I have no hair, so it's not going to gain in. The neck on these things is really, I would have paid more 30 years ago for a neck like this. Just the neck alone. And what does that mean? Does that mean that my standards have come down? No, my standards have always been up. What I'm saying is that the price of these standards have come down. So no longer is this relegated, this so-called pro standardism. Now it's for just the big wigs, the big names, and then like the extra stuff that they gotta put in there. You know what? Forget if this is not based on the extra stuff, and if it's not based on the name on the headstock, then it should just be based on what it can do for you. How about that? So, how this started was years ago when I first got into Harley Benton. I made my first purchase, and in that first purchase there were 3 guitars. One of them was this one. Now, it was actually this guitar that first caught my eye for the very first time I saw Harley Benton and what they were gonna offer. What could they do for me? And before I purchased one, I did my research. I just like you guys, I was on YouTube checking out all the other reviewers and stuff like that, and then I realized that there's a lot of people getting on the bandwagon for this thing. What is it about? So I decided I was going to take a plunge, and I did. And lo and behold, this was the first one, and I did this pink one kind of like many of the other reasons why I bought many of the other Harley Bentons later on afterwards. It was because of almost like a joke, is kid fool me? I mean, can I be so easily amused? I apparently so, because I'm not I don't communicate with a guitar through by looking at it. Oh yeah, I can awe in its beauty and its craftsmanship. This is not a D'Angelico. This still is an effective tool for me. Now, mind you, every guitar I have has a reason and a purpose, and maybe that reason and purpose can be filled by all the other guitars, right? But every one guitar that I have, or at least the ones that I keep, all right, or the ones that I don't want to let go, I should say, they have a connection with me. Now this one here, I'll be honest with you. All right, so I have 3, 4. Wait, how many are 3? I got 3. I got 3 TE62s. Okay. And this was my first one. This was my first Harley Benton, in fact, okay? My other TE62, which I'm really, really fond of, and I actually play it more than this one, but they have different reasons why I love them, all right? This one here, all right, so this one here is kind of like the professor here. And this one here I call Woody, all right? So, little Miss Piggy. So anyway, But Piggy over here took my breath away in terms of how it felt in my hands. And then I think the following order or 2 orders later from Tolman, I got this thing. And I always wanted a guitar, a Fender, or a Fender-esque, something like that, but black and white, kind of remind me of Rolling Stones or Ron Wood. That's why I called this guy Woody. So this thing grew on me. Now, this thing, when I first touched her, I was enamored with just the feel and the love and the happiness and inspiration this thing gives me. This thing is inspirational. This thing is a creative tool. This one here is my work tool. All right, so when I got to get to work and I'm working on something, I'm going to work on that for how long I need to work on. I'll use this guitar. So this is like my classroom guitar. Both have these beautiful Harley Benton necks. Folks, I can't stress enough how the value you get on just the neck. So anyway, the only thing I upgraded on here is I put in brass compensated saddles from Wilkinson. That's about it. Now I think they all come like this. Anyway, so back to this. Well, yeah, that's another thing, folks. Some people thought that this was my channel turned into a mallet finger channel. No, it's not a mallet finger channel. I'm just the host here is going through a little era. It's called the mallet finger era. See, this is an era, all right? The era of the mallet finger, folks. That's all it is. And I'm passing through it. It's just before you know it, it'll be over. And all the shenanigans will go right back to where they're supposed to go. In the closet. Welcome to Loving's Guitar. let's go back in time a little bit. Back when, well, life was a whole lot easier when Harley Bentons weren't included in my life. This particular model over here caused me quite a disturbance in my life. I'm going to tell you why. Because, well, come a few years ago, giggles though, I should say, that made me want to purchase something like this. Yeah. So I thought it was going to be a joke, and quite honestly, I was willing to go along with it. And so it arrived, with a few other things, from Thomann, I should say, all the way from Germany. And then, to my amazement, when I first opened her up, she felt so good. This is the Harley Benton TE62. CC, shell pink. It is what many people claim it to be. Just read the reviews, follow other people on YouTube. They're all saying the same thing. Very few people say other things. I don't know. But all I'm saying is this. You only get one chance in life to make a first impression. And this is where Harley Benton did an exceptional job. So they convinced me, someone who has collected quite a few guitars and, played a lot, I enjoyed so much of what music has brought me. And then this thing comes along, all right? So as I mentioned, when I purchased this a few years ago, this was kind of like I thought it was going to be a joke. And so it came here really quick, and it's just like, wait, were they next door? I don't know. I thought they were from Germany, and it just came really fast. Whatever it is, it was fast. Point is this. That first impression blew me away. And if there's one thing I want to impart to you, what years has taught me, okay? Regardless of what the name on the headstock is, or the fancy pickups, or the color, or any of those shenanigans, and even the way it sounds, okay, yeah, even the way it sounds. You know what is more important? At least in my book, right? I don't know what book you're reading, and if it's all with the rest of the whole world that reads the same book, so be it. But the way I judge a guitar is by how it feels. This guitar channel is dedicated to pretty much communicating this message here. What does it feel like? If you can describe that, maybe you have a guitar in your hand. If you can't, I don't know what it is. Oh, you have a Gibson, you have a Fender, I have them too. You have a Guild, you have a Gretsch, yeah, I have those too. Who cares? I want to know about the guitars that are so important in your life that you want to pick them up. Not because of what they look like. Oh, and not even shouldn't be really because of the way they sound like, Sure, that sound stuff, I don't know. I think sound is overrated at this point. Yeah, I think so. I think the feel thing is way more important. You get a feel thing going on. Folks, once you get a feeling for something that you want to pick up, it won't be because of the guitar, the name on the headstock, even the sound that it produces. No, that's what I'm communicate here, folks. if I go to like a show off party, okay, and everybody can just be creative, got to play like, like you're playing with Play Doh, silly putty, I'm bringing this thing. Because that's what this guitar does for me. It's not, you can rip on this thing. And you can rock out on this thing. You can do blues, you can do jazz, funk. I mean, you can metal out with this guitar. I kid you not. This guitar does everything, literally. And you know what? So I have other guitars where I've reconfigured, I swapped pickups, lots of mods, expensive or inexpensive guitars, both. This guitar has been left stock for over 3 years now, right? I think. And God help any person who I see try to take this out of my hands and try to just alter it in any way. Are you kidding me? This is my child. Don't you touch my child. This one is just perfect the way it is. It needs no modification. It features Roswell pickups. That's all they are. And some people like them, don't like them, think they could do better, whatever. You know what, folks? I already prefaced this with, I like it just the way it is. So it comes with these saddles here. They're not compensated, none of, and they're not made of brass. But look, I set up the intonation. They're perfectly fine. They work. Okay. It's a standard configuration. You got the ashtray over here, all these things, that perfect. That's what tellies should feel like. Underneath the bridge, this plate over here, the control plate, they're dime pots, all right? Okay, but you know what? Look, 3 years and this switch hasn't broken yet, okay? The tuners, okay, can you see the tuners? Yes, I see tuners here. You know what? They work. They stay in tune. How about that, folks? I feel so secure. It's pro. It's all pro. Nothing's wrong with this guitar. Now, on the other hand, you might look at it and say, well, I don't like the color pink. Okay, screw you. But there are a few little flaws, but really tiny, but not enough for me to say anything except I want to keep it. Okay, so it needed a little bit of tweaking when it got here. But when it got here, it was already at the point where, you know what? Any seasoned person would have been able to pick it up and go, okay, it just needs a little tweaking. No big deal. If you were brand new at this, you should still be impressed. However, you may not understand and value it as much. What I'm saying is that not years ago, 20, 30 years ago, nobody really intonated their own guitars because it was like a mystery. Well, 40 years ago, right? It was a mystery. But now with YouTube, you can learn how to do all that kind of stuff, how to level your frets, crown them, all that stuff, polish them. So many methods. Get in there. There's a lot of YouTube stuff to do anything, that teaches you to do anything. And now I'm 62 years old. And I'm learning, So what I'm saying is that years ago, I paid a lot of money over the years. A lot of money, thousands, in just get good luthiers and good guitar setup people to do their work for the guitars I had, Now, personally, I save hundreds by doing it myself and being closer to the instruments I do have and knowing exactly what their characteristics are over time. Because, hey, guess what, girls, boys, those in between? These things that we include in our lives, these things that come into our homes and travel with us and even stay with us through good relationships and bad relationships with others. Because this thing is got to be more than a relationship. It's got to be a connection. Otherwise, well, it's something else. I don't know. That's when it could be judged as an object, as something else. You know, it's a Harley Benton compared to a Fender, or it's a Firefly compared to a PRS. You know, no. How about this, folks? Judge it by first, how does it feel? How does it feel? Does it inspire you? Does the guitar inspire you? Because if a guitar can inspire you to pick it up and play it, that's the guitar for you. And hopefully it doesn't cost so much. And if it does, hopefully you have the means to buy it. But it calls for you. And then if you play it, what does it do for you? Does it make you do things? Does it bring you someplace? Does it change your way of doing things? Do you do things only on that guitar that you don't do on other guitars? Have you given the guitar that you're playing a certain status or role? You know, like it only comes out on these special occasions. I don't know, whatever it is. But that's what a guitar to a guitarist should feel like. It should feel like a connection. This is the Harley Benton TE62 CC Shell Pink. Had it now over 3 years, and yeah, it's a keeper. Anyway, thanks for watching. If you like these kind of shenanigans, it'd be really cool if you subscribe. Hit the like button, share, comment. Put me on those notifications. If you want to know more about Harley Bentons, then I have a playlist that you can follow. And if you like to see me tear apart guitars and do weird stuff to them, I have a playlist for that as well. Otherwise, YouTube's going to suggest that